The rain hammered the tin roof of the cabin like 1,000 accusations, each drop a reminder of the lie I'd built my life on. I stood there in the dim kitchen light, the pregnancy test clutched in my trembling hand, 2 pink lines staring back like a death sentence. "You're not real," I whispered to the stick, but my body knew better, the nausea twisting like a knife because deep down, I'd always felt it. The pull, the heat, the secret scent I'd buried under suppressants that weren't mine. That was the night I ran, backpack slung over my shoulder, heart pounding as I slipped into the storm-slicked streets of Seattle, convinced Wyatt Kane had poisoned me with his love. But as the ferry cut through Puget Sound toward the foggy wilds of the Olympic Peninsula, a whisper clawed at my mind. What if he hadn't hidden the pill from me? What if he'd hidden me from myself? Finn Harper had never asked for the mark of an Omega. Born in the shadow of the Space Needle, raised on the scent of salt air and overbrewed coffee from his mom's diner in Capitol Hill, he'd scraped by as a beta in a world that sorted you like produce at Pike Place. 24 years old, with a freelance graphic design gig that paid just enough for a cramped queen and apartment and dreams deferred to the bottom drawer. He blended in, or so he thought, kept his head down, his heats medicated with black market betas only, because alphas like Wyatt were storms you didn't court unless you wanted to drown. They'd met 6 months back at a dive bar in Fremont, the kind with neon signs flickering like faulty heartbeats over sticky pool tables. Wyatt Kane, 30, all broad shoulders and storm-gray eyes under a jaw carved from granite, ran a custom bike shop down in Ballard. He smelled like pine resin and engine oil, the alpha pheromones rolling off him subtle at first, then overwhelming, like the tide pulling you under before you could scream. Finn had been nursing a whiskey sour, sketching logos on a napkin to forget another rejection email, when Wyatt slid onto the stool beside him. "You draw like you're fighting something," Wyatt said, voice low and gravel rough, leaning in just enough to make Finn's pulse stutter. No pickup line, no flash. Just that gaze, stripping away the beta facade Finn had worn like armor since his first botched heat at 18. By closing time, they were tangled in the sheets of Wyatt's loft above the shop, the city lights bleeding through the blinds like accusations. It was raw, unfiltered, Wyatt's hands mapping Finn's skin with a reverence that bordered on worship, his not locking them together as Finn arched and gasped, chasing a release that felt like coming home. No talk of dynamics then. Alphas and Omegas were relics in modern Seattle, or so the ads for scent-neutral cologne promised. But in the afterglow, Wyatt traced the faint scar on Finn's hip from a childhood fall and murmured, "You're more than you let on, Harper." Finn laughed it off, buried it under banter and bike rides along the Burke-Gilman Trail, where Wyatt would steal kisses at the locks, the water churning below like the secrets they didn't voice. Dates blurred into routine. Lazy Sundays at the market, haggling over heirloom tomatoes. Nights where Wyatt cooked elk steaks from a hunting trip up in the Cascades, his laugh booming as Finn teased his lumberjack chic. It was easy, intoxicating, Wyatt's alpha steadiness anchoring Finn's restless sketches, making him believe in something solid amid the drizzle and dreams. But cracks spiderwebbed early. The first heat hit Finn like a freight train 3 months in, disguised as flu under a double dose of his pilfered betas. He locked himself in the bathroom of Wyatt's loft, sweat slick and shaking, the air thick with a sweetness he couldn't name. Wyatt pounded on the door, voice edged with something feral. "Finn, open up. I can smell it, you're burning up." "It's nothing," Finn gasped through clenched teeth, popping another pill that did jack against the fire in his veins. "Just go to work. I'll call later." Wyatt didn't leave. He camped outside the door with takeout pho and bad action flicks cued on the TV. His presence a low hum that both soothed and terrified. When Finn emerged, hollow-eyed and reeking of artificial citrus, Wyatt pulled him close without a word, burying his face in Finn's hair. "Whatever it is, we've got this," he said, and Finn wanted to believe him, clung to that promise like a lifeline. They never named it. Finn kept his stash hidden in the lining of his sketchbook, the betas a crutch against the Omega whispers he'd ignored since puberty. In Seattle's progressive haze, where pride flags fluttered year-round and apps matched by kink not, Admitting you were an Omega felt like volunteering for the scrap heap. Jobs dried up, leases got tricky, alphas turned possessive or predatory. Better to fade into beta blandness, right? Except Wyatt's touch ignited sparks Finn couldn't suppress forever. The nights grew hungrier. Wyatt's kisses turned bruising, his hands gripping Finn's hips with an alpha's unyielding claim, drawing out moans that echoed too sweetly in the loft. "You taste like mine," Wyatt growled once, mid-thrust, his teeth grazing Finn's neck where a bond mark would bloom. Finn came undone, slick and shuddering, but the aftertaste was guilt. Rummaging later for extra suppressants, the bottle half empty too soon. Wyatt noticed. Of course he did. One evening, after a gig at the Triple Door where Finn's designs lit the stage for an indie band, they stumbled home buzzed on craft IPAs. Wyatt cornered him against the fridge, lips hot on Finn's throat. "Stop fighting it," he murmured, fangs pricking just enough to tease. "I know what you need." Finn shoved him back, heart slamming. "And what's that?" "Your alpha ego trip." Wyatt's eyes darkened, hurt flickering before the mask slipped on. "Just you, Finn. All of you." It hung there, unspoken, the Omega under the skin, the fear of losing control. Finn fled to his apartment that night, sketching feverishly until dawn. Wyatt's face fractured into wolves and waves, the alpha pull rendered in charcoal smudges. Weeks later, the nausea started. Subtle at first, averting his eyes from the fish tacos at the food truck, blaming it on Wyatt's experimental venison chili. But when the stick confirmed it, 2 lines blazing under the bathroom fluorescence, the world tilted. Pregnant. An Omega's curse, the kind that bound you tighter than any knot. Panic clawed up Finn's throat as he rifled through Wyatt's medicine cabinet, the one he teased for its caveman remedies. Aspirin, whiskey tinctures, and a nondescript amber bottle tucked behind the bandages. The label was blank, but the pills inside gleamed familiar. Pearlescent white, etched with a faint Omega sigil. Heat inducers, the opposite of suppressants, alpha's dirty secret for coaxing submission, for breeding without consent. "You bastard," Finn breathed, the pieces slamming together. Wyatt had known. All those lingering touches, the way he'd hoard Finn's laundry like a scent hoard, murmuring about building something real. It wasn't love. It was a claim, a trap sprung with pharmaceuticals. The pregnancy wasn't fate, it was engineered. Rain lashed the window as Finn packed. Sketchbook, a change of clothes, the ferry schedule crumpled in his fist. He left a note on the counter. "We're done. Don't follow," and slipped out into the downpour, the city lights blurring into halos of betrayal. The bus to the terminal was half empty. Riders huddled in hoodies, oblivious to the Omega fleeing with his secret swelling inside. On the ferry, the salt wind whipped his face, churning stomach with the waves. He pressed a hand to his belly, whispering apologies to the life he hadn't planned. "We'll be okay," he lied, eyes on the receding skyline. Seattle shrank to a glitter of lies, the Olympics looming like a promise of wilderness and rebirth. But as the boat docked in Bainbridge, a chill slithered down his spine. Not the wind, but instinct. Wyatt's scent lingered on his skin, faint but insistent, like the alpha had marked him deeper than flesh. Finn shook it off, hailing a cab to the Greyhound station, bound for anywhere but here. Portland? No, too close. The wilds of Montana, maybe, where Omegas vanished into ranches and reinvention. The station buzzed with transients. A family with whining kids, a grizzled vet nursing a thermos. Finn bought a ticket to Missoula, cash only, the clerk's pitying glance sliding over his soaked frame. As the bus lurched south, he curled against the window, exhaustion pulling him under. Dreams came fractured. Wyatt's hands gentle then gripping, the pills dissolving on his tongue like forbidden fruit. He woke to the driver calling layover in Olympia, the sky bruising purple. Stepping off for coffee, Finn caught a glimpse in the diner window. His reflection pale and hollow-cheeked, the Omega truth etched in shadowed eyes. How long had Wyatt seen it? From that first barstool brush, probably. Alphas had noses like bloodhounds. Back on the bus, a text buzzed his phone, the one he'd meant to smash but couldn't. Wyatt, where are you? Talk to me. Delete. Another. I can explain the pills. It's not what you think. Finn's thumb hovered, rage and longing warring. Block, he thought, but instead typed, You drugged me. We're over. Send. The screen stayed blank, the silence louder than the road hum. Miles blurred into forest, the cascades giving way to high desert. Finn sketched idly, a map of escape routes, dotted with what-ifs. What if he kept the baby? Raised it in some off-grid cabin, teaching it to draw instead of dodge alphas? Or what if he ended it, reclaimed the beta lie? The thought twisted like the pills in his gut. By nightfall, the bus rattled into Spokane, a transfer point under sodium lights. Finn stepped out for air, the chill biting through his jacket. That's when he saw him, Wyatt, leaning against a lamppost, rain-slicked hair gleaming, eyes locking on Finn like a predator's. How? The note, the ferry, the misdirection, impossible. You followed the scent, Finn said, voice cracking, backing toward the terminal. Wyatt straightened, hands open in surrender. Always could. From the start. The admission hung heavy, the alpha stepping closer, his presence a gravitational pull. Finn's body betrayed him, slick gathering unbidden, the omega nature flaring despite the fear. Stay away, he warned, hand shielding his middle. Wyatt's gaze dropped, nostrils flaring. Pregnant, he breathed, wonder softening the edges of his shock. God, Finn, don't. Finn whirled, bolting for the bus, but Wyatt's hand caught his wrist, gentle as a vow. I never forced you. The pills. They were for me, to dull the alpha haze. Keep me from scaring you off before you saw us clear. Lies. Had to be. Finn yanked free, boarding the idling Greyhound, the doors hissing shut on Wyatt's outstretched hand. As the bus pulled away, Finn watched him shrink in the mirror. Alpha unmoored, rain washing the pain from his face. But the seed of doubt took root, burrowing deep as the miles. What if Wyatt spoke truth? What if the Omega in Finn had chosen this, pills or no? The bus groaned eastward through the night, headlights carving tunnels in the ink-black Palouse hills, wheat fields whispering secrets to the wind. Finn huddled in his seat, the vinyl sticky against his skin. Every jolt a reminder of the fragile cargo he carried. Sleep evaded him, chased off by the phantom press of Wyatt's fingers on his wrist, warm, insistent, like the man himself. He pulled his hoodie tighter, inhaling the faint pine that clung despite the hours, cursing his body's loyalty. Missoula greeted him at dawn, a sprawl of brick and brick under a sky streaked pink, the Clark Fork River glinting like a promise of absolution. Finn shouldered his pack, the weight lighter than his heart, and checked into a no-tell motel off the interstate. A sagging single with threadbare quilts and a TV bolted to the wall. $50 got him 2 nights, anonymity in the flicker of vacancy signs. He locked the door, slid to the floor, and let the sobs come, raw and racking, his forehead pressed to the swell of his abdomen. I'm sorry, he murmured to the quiet life inside, tears soaking his shirt, for running, for everything. The baby didn't answer, but a flutter, too early to be real, or maybe just hope, stirred low in his belly. Omega magic, they called it in the underground forums Finn had skimmed in secret. The bond forming before words, pulling parent to child with silken threads. He spent the day adrift, wandering the 5 valleys in a daze. Missoula felt like Seattle's rustic cousin. Craft breweries tucked into historic buildings. The University of Montana's campus buzzing with flannel-clad students debating in coffee shops that smelled of patchouli and ambition. Finn grabbed a latte at a place called Bernice's, the foam heart on top mocking his fractured one. He sketched on a napkin. A cradle woven from river reeds, a father with Wyatt's eyes but his own gentle hands. Enough. He needed a plan. Freelance wires pinged his phone. Another logo for a startup, payable via Venmo. He holed up in the motel, MacBook balanced on his knees, rendering vectors until his eyes burned. By evening, $200 richer, he searched rentals. Cheap studios in the Rattlesnake Valley, where the wild edged the wilder. Omega-friendly. The listings whispered in code. No questions on heats or cents. But the pull lingered. Texts from Wyatt piled up, unread. Please, let me find you. I love you, Finn. All of you. Delete. Block. Repeat. The alpha's voice echoed in his head, gravel and grief. How had he known about the pregnancy so fast? Sent across miles? Or something deeper? A bond half-formed in stolen nights. Night fell heavy, the motel's walls thin as regrets. Finn's heat crept in unannounced, the suppressants long flushed from his system by the pregnancy's alchemy. Slick dampened his thighs, the air thickening with honeyed need, his body craving what his mind rejected. He paced, biting his fist to stifle moans, the bed a temptation he ignored. Call Wyatt, a traitorous voice urged. Let him knot you whole. No. He brewed motel coffee, black and bitter, and scrolled Omega support groups. Anonymous threads of runaways and reclaimers, sharing tips on herbal teas and safe houses. One post caught his eye, Ridge Valley, Montana. Sanctuary for our kind. No alphas, no judgments. Tucked in the Bitterroot Valley, 2 hours south. A former logging town turned artist commune, where Omegas built lives from scratch. Decision crystallized. Finn booked a shuttle at dawn, the fare eating half his earnings. As the van wound through canyons gold with autumn aspen, tension eased from his shoulders. The driver, a beta woman with a smoker's rasp, glanced in the mirror. Escaping something? Finn met her eyes, the truth slipping free. Myself, mostly. She nodded, no pity, just understanding. Ridge Valley's good for that. Heals what the world's broken. The commune unfolded like a hidden valley from a Steinbeck tale. Cabins clustered around a central meadow, smoke curling from chimneys, the Bitterroot River chuckling nearby. Chickens scratched in gardens heavy with kale and carrots, and a welcome banner fluttered. Home is where the heart heats. Finn's cab dropped him at the gate. A beta named Elias greeting him with a firm handshake and a knowing nose twitch. Omega, Elias said, not a question. Mid-40s, wiry with salt and pepper hair. He ran the intake with quiet efficiency. Pregnant too. We've got space in the nesting house. Finn followed him down a gravel path, leaves crunching underfoot, the air crisp with pine and earth. The nesting house was a long lodge of cedar and stone, rooms partitioned with quilts for privacy. His was small but sunlit, a loft bed piled with pillows, a rocker by the window overlooking the river. Elias left him with a basket, ginger tea for nausea, sketch pads, and a worn copy of the Omega's Guide to Self-Bondage. Half joke, half lifeline. You settle, Elias said from the door. Supper's at 6. Folks here. They get it. Alone, Finn unpacked, the sketchbook spilling its confessions. Wyatt's profile in repose, the alpha's vulnerability hidden behind stubble and strength. He traced the lines, anger softening to ache. What if the pills were for Wyatt, to temper his rut, keep him from overwhelming Finn's fragile beta charade? The thought gnawed, but pride sealed his lips. Supper was communal, a long table groaning under potluck bounty. Venison stew, cornbread studded with jalapenos, apple pie still warm. 24 souls gathered. Omegas mostly, a smattering of betas, no alphas in sight. Introductions flowed easy. Mira, a sculptor with tattooed arms and a laugh like bells, 7 months along with twins. Theo, a quiet librarian nesting books instead of babies. Lena, sharp-tongued and herbalist, brewing elixirs that masked scents for city runs. Finn shared sparingly. Finn from Seattle figuring things out. But eyes lingered on his subtle curve, nods of solidarity rippling. After, around a fire pit crackling with sage, stories unfurled. Mira spoke of her alpha's abandonment, the rage that fueled her clay figures. Theo confessed a bond broken by betrayal, mended in solitude. Finn listened, the flames warming the chill in his chest, until Lena leaned in. "Your sense nodded," she said softly. "Someone's missing you fierce." Finn's throat tightened. He knew I was Omega before I did. Used pills to, I don't know, force it. Lena's brow furrowed. Inducers? Or suppressants flipped? Inducers, Finn admitted, the word sour. She hummed, poking the fire. Alphas do desperate things for love. Doesn't make it right, but doesn't always make it wrong. Sleep came fitful that night, dreams weaving Wyatt into the valley. His hands planting gardens, his voice reading to the unborn. Morning brought routine. Yoga in the meadow, Finn's body protesting then yielding, the stretch easing nausea. He sketched the group, faces alive with resilience, his own emerging boulder on the page. Days blurred into a rhythm. Mornings foraging berries with Mira, afternoons in the communal studio, where Finn's designs bloomed into murals, vines entwining alphas and omegas in harmony, not chains. Evenings by the river, skipping stones with Theo, the water carrying confessions downstream. The baby grew, kicks like Morse code, stay, heal. But Wyatt haunted the edges. A package arrived midweek, no sender, but the pine scent unmistakable. Inside, Finn's favorite hoodie, laundered soft, and a note in Wyatt's scrawl. "Wear this when you miss the rain. I'm waiting." Finn buried his face in the fabric, sobs muffled. The alphas love a tether he couldn't sever. One dusk, as leaves turned crimson, a van rumbled up the drive. Elias met it warily, but the occupant stepped out alone. Wyatt came, travel-worn, eyes hollowed by shadows. Finn watched from the studio window, heart seizing. The alpha scanned the cabins, nostrils flaring, until his gaze locked on the glass, like he'd scented Finn's turmoil across the miles. Elias blocked the path. "No alphas here, friend. Turn back." Wyatt's voice carried, steady as bedrock. "I just need to see him, please." Finn's feet moved before his mind caught up, door creaking open. They stood yards apart, the air electric with unspoken heats. Wyatt's face crumpled, relief and regret warring. "Finn, God, look at you." "Don't," Finn whispered, hand on his belly like a shield. "You can't just show up." "I had to. The pills, they were mine to keep my ruts from triggering yours. I wanted you to choose, not the biology." Truth rang in his words, cracking Finn's resolve. But betrayal lingered, sharp as the river's chill. "Choose what? Your breeding fantasy." Wyatt flinched. "No. A life." The commune stirred, eyes on the standoff. Mira appeared at Finn's side, arm linking his. "He goes, or we all go silent." Wyatt nodded, backing away, but his eyes pleaded, "Stay with me." As the van retreated, Finn sank to the porch, the hoodie clutched tight. Love or lie? The baby kicked, insistent, and for the first time, Finn wondered if running had brought him home, or left the best part behind. Autumn deepened in Ridge Valley, the aspens shedding gold like confessions, the air crisp with the promise of frost. Finn threw himself into the commune's pulse, mornings knee-deep in compost, turning earth that yielded potatoes fat as fists. His hands, once confined to pixels and pencils, now bore the honest dirt of creation, nurturing, like the life quickening within. Mira taught him to knit booties from wool dyed with onion skins, her fingers deft as she chattered about the twins' impending arrival. "They'll come howling," she said, needles clicking, demanding their space, just like their mama. Finn smiled, but the yarn tangled in his thoughts, mirroring the knot in his chest. Wyatt's visit lingered like smoke, his words a hook snagged deep. Choose. But choice felt illusory, Omega instincts warring with the beta scars he'd nursed for years. Nights, he'd rock by the window, the rivers murmur a lullaby, sketching what-ifs. Wyatt cradling their child under Seattle's perpetual gray, or fading into memory, a ghost in the gallery of lost loves. Lena's herbs helped, teas that steadied his hormones, poultices for the aches blooming in his back. She was the commune's unofficial therapist, her cabin a greenhouse of drying bundles and crystal pendants. Over chamomile one afternoon, Finn unspooled the full tale. The bar, the loft, the pills unearthed like buried shame. Inducers for his rut, Lena mused, grinding lavender in a mortar. Alphas get wild, think they can tame the beast with chemistry. But your scent called him first, didn't it? Before the bottles. Finn nodded, tracing the cup's rim. I felt it, like gravity. That's the bond, pup. Not force fit. She slid him a vial, amber liquid swirling. This'll mask if you need to bolt again. But running from truth, that's the real cage. Her words fermented, bubbling up during communal dinners, where laughter drowned doubt. Theo shared dog-eared novels by firelight, tales of queer outlaws in the American West, cowboys with hidden heats, bonds forged in sagebrush. Finn devoured them, seeing echoes of his flight in the pages. Escape as rebirth, pursuit as redemption. Yet Wyatt's package had cracked the dam. More arrived weekly, innocuous at first. A sketchbook bound in leather, pages prepped with his favorite pencils. Then wildflower seeds from the Cascades, tagged plant these with me someday. Finn hoarded them in his loft, untouched, but the scents invaded dreams. Wyatt's body arching over his, not swelling with whispered vows. One crisp morning, as frost silvered the meadow, Elias called a circle. Storm's coming, he said, map unrolled on the table. Big one, power out, road slick. Stock up, hunker down. The group buzzed, dividing tasks. Mira on pantry inventory, Theo on generator checks. Finn volunteered for the supply run to Hamilton, the nearest town, a beta driver named Cole at the wheel. Cole was solid, early 30s, with a farmer's tan and easy grin. No alpha edge, just reliable quiet. The drive wound through canyons, radio crackling forecasts of wind gusts and whiteouts. At the co-op, Finn loaded crates. Canned goods, batteries, candles that flickered like forbidden thoughts. Cole hefted sacks of flour, joking about baking disasters. Last time I tried sourdough, it rose like a bad rut. Overnight takeover. Finn laughed, the sound foreign after weeks of guarded smiles. For a moment, normalcy bloomed, banter without undercurrents, touch accidental and light. But as they queued to pay, a familiar pine tickled Finn's nose, faint under the grocery aisle's bleach. Wyatt, here in this nowhere Montana market, restocking his own invisible siege. He emerged from the meat counter, flannel stretched over shoulders Finn knew by braille, eyes widening at the sight. Finn. No plea, just fact. His voice a rumble that vibrated through Finn's bones. Cole tensed, hand on the cart. Friend of yours. X. Finn muttered, chin lifting. What are you doing here? Wyatt set down a pack of jerky, palms up, tracking a lead on a bike part. Honest. His gaze dipped to Finn's belly, now rounded under the loose sweater, softening to awe. You're glowing. The word hung intimate as a caress. Finn's omega stirred, slick threatening despite the public glare. Go back to Seattle. This isn't your territory. Wyatt stepped closer, voice low. It is if you are. I sold the shop, Finn. Liquidated everything. I'm here till you hear me. Cole cleared his throat, positioning between them. Time to load up, man. Wyatt backed off, but his eyes promised pursuit. In the van, silence stretched, Cole glancing sideways. Alpha. Yeah. Finn rubbed his temple. Persistent one. Cole hummed. Seen it before. Love like that? It's a wildfire. Burns hot. Leaves ash or new growth. Back at Ridge Valley, the storm broke as predicted. Winds howling like banshees. Rain sheeting the windows. The commune hunkered. Candles guttering in the lodge. Stories swapped over hot cider. Finn retreated early, the encounter churning like the gale outside. He lit a single wick, its flame dancing shadows on the walls, and pulled out the sketchbook Wyatt sent. Pages flew. Wyatt in the market light, vulnerable and vast. Their child, imagined with his curls and the alpha's jaw. A knock rattled the door. Elias, bearing stew and concern, saw the run-in. "You okay?" Finn let him in, the warmth chasing chill. He sold his shop. "For me." Elias ladled stew, settling on the rocker. Desperation or devotion? Lines thin. They talked late, Elias sharing his own flight from a bond gone toxic. Wife turned enforcer. Omega dreams crushed under alpha decree. "I found peace here," he said, eyes on the storm. But peace ain't always alone. The gale peaked at midnight, thunder cracking like Wyatt's resolve. Finn dozed fitful, waking to a scrape at the window. Heart pounding, he peered out. Wyatt, drenched and determined, rigging a tarp over the woodpile, his form blurred by rain. Not invading, just providing silent service in the dark. Tears pricked Finn's eyes. The alpha hadn't forced entry. He'd built shelter. For them. Morning dawned muffled. Snow dusting the pines like forgiveness. The commune emerged, assessing damage, and there was Wyatt at the generator. Sleeves rolled, oil-smeared hands coaxing it to life. Mira eyed him warily but passed a mug of coffee. Theo nodded gruff approval. Finn approached slow, breath fogging. "You could have frozen." Wyatt wiped his brow, gray eyes meeting blue. "Worth it. For a glimpse." Silence stretched, charged. Finn's hand found his belly, the baby rolling as if greeting. "Why now? After the pills, the lies." Wyatt knelt, eye level, voice raw. "No lies. I suppressed my alpha side to give you space. Didn't want to scare the omega I sent at day one. But love? That's no drug. That's you, Finn. Not or no." The confession landed soft, truth blooming in the snow. Finn's walls trembled, Omega yielding to the bond's call. "I need time." Wyatt rose, nodding. "Take it. I'm not going anywhere." As he trudged to his truck, Finn called after. "Stay for breakfast." The table that morning held an uneasy truce. Wyatt at the end, answering questions with quiet candor. He spoke of the shop sale, the loft sublet, his days scouting Montana trails for a fresh start. No pressure, just presence, the alpha learning patience. After, Finn walked him to the gate, leaves crunching under shared steps. "Don't vanish," Finn said, the words a bridge. Wyatt cupped his face, thumb brushing a tear track. "Never again." The kiss was tentative, lips meeting like rivers merging, slow, deep, the bond sparking alive. Finn pulled back, breathless, hand in Wyatt's. "Come back tonight." As the truck faded down the drive, Finn returned to the studio, pencil flying. Two figures entwined against the bitterroots, roots delving deep. The baby kicked approval, and for the first time, Finn breathed free. Not from Wyatt, but into him. Winter whispered in on the heels of the storm, blanketing Ridge Valley in hush white, the river icing at edges like fragile promises. Finn's world tilted toward Wyatt's orbit, the alpha a steady satellite. Nights at the gatehouse he'd rented, a drafty A-frame on the commune's fringe, where fires crackled and confessions simmered. They moved slow, deliberate. Walks bundled in scarves, hands linked against the cold. Wyatt's palm a furnace on Finn's chilled fingers. "You're building something here," Wyatt said one evening, as they shoveled the meadow path, breath clouds mingling. His eyes traced the murals Finn had painted. Omegas rising from valleys, alphas as guardians, not overlords. Finn leaned on his shovel, snowflakes catching in his lashes. "Trying to, for the kid. For me." Wyatt nodded, the motion careful like handling glass. "Proud of you. No alpha command, just truth raw, unadorned." Inside the nesting house, the commune watched with cautious warmth. Mira dubbed Wyatt the tamed wolf, teasing over knitting circles, her belly a twin-peaked mountain. Theo lent books on co-parenting, dog-eared margins alive with notes. Bonds thrive on choice, not chemistry. Lena brewed elixirs for Wyatt's lingering rut haze, her grin sly. Keep him honest, pup. Alphas forget easy. Elias remained sentinel, pulling Wyatt aside for the talk. Boundaries etched in beta steel. Hurt him, you're out. No second chances. Wyatt met the gaze unflinching. Understood. He's my world. Nights deepened their thaw. In the A-frame, lamplight gilding the rafters, they'd curl on the rug. Wyatt's head on Finn's lap, listening to the baby's somersaults. Strong, he'd murmur, palms splayed over the curve. Like their dad. Finn threaded fingers through Wyatt's hair, the strands coarse as truth. Which one? Both. Wyatt's voice muffled, vulnerable. I messed up, Finn. The pills. I was terrified you'd run if I pushed the alpha card. Wanted you to see the man first. Finn's chest ached. Forgiveness a slow melt. I saw. But trust? That's the knot I need tied. They talked till embers died. Wyatt unspooling his Seattle youth, orphaned young, raised by a beta ant who taught resilience over ruts. Alphas get labeled monsters, he said, staring into the fire. Fought it my whole life. Then you, sweet as sin, hiding your light, couldn't resist. Finn shared fragments. The diner shifts dodging leers, the first heat locked in a bathroom stall, suppressants scavenged from clinic trash. Felt like a freak. Better to be nothing. Wyatt pulled him close, lips to temple. You're everything. Intimacy rebuilt brick by gentle brick. Kisses lingered, exploratory, no knots yet, just the press of bodies learning anew. Wyatt's hands mapped Finn's changes. The fuller hips, the tender breasts budding under skin. Omega shifts celebrated in whispers. Beautiful. He'd breathe, nuzzling the swell, drawing gasps that echoed soft. One blizzard-bound night, as winds wailed, the heat crested unbidden. Finn's body alight, slick and seeking despite the chill. He woke gasping, Wyatt's arms a anchor. Need you? Finn panted, grinding against the alpha's thigh. Wyatt stilled, eyes dark with restraint. Sure? No rush. Now. Finn's fingers clawed his shirt, Omega imperative overriding doubt. Please. They moved like worship, Wyatt shedding layers slow, his body a landscape of scars and strength. The tattoo of a compass on his ribs, pointing home. Finn straddled him, guiding the alpha's length, sinking down with a moan that shattered silence. Wyatt's hands gripped hips, not controlling but cradling, thrusts measured to Finn's rhythm. The knot swelled gentle, locking them as release crashed, Finn arching. Cries muffled in Wyatt's neck, the bond sealing like snow to earth. After, tangled and sated, Wyatt traced the mating mark blooming faint on Finn's shoulder. Twin crescents, Alpha's claim earned, not taken. Mine, Wyatt whispered, not possession but prayer. Ours, Finn corrected, hand over heart. Spring stirred tentative, snow yielding to mud, the valley greening with crocus spears. Finn's belly rounded full, mobility a waddle, but energy surged. Murals expanded to the gatehouse, vines framing a sign. Kane Harper, building. Wyatt commuted to Missoula for odd jobs. Bike repairs at a local garage, saving for land of their own. Conflict brewed subtle, shadows in the idle. Whispers from the commune. Alpha integration. Risky? Mira confided doubts over tea, her labor looming. He's trying, but old fears die hard. Watch your back. Finn defended, fierce. He's changed. We're changed. But doubt seeded when a letter arrived, Seattle postmark, from Wyatt's ex-partner. A beta named Riley who'd ghosted years back. Heard you're nesting. Careful, he left me for an Omega fantasy once. History repeats. Finn confronted at dusk, letter crumpled in fist. Truth or test?
Wyatt reat, paling.
Riley? Ancient. She bailed when my ruts got rough before suppressants. Swear it, Finn. You're not fantasy. You're fact. proof came in actions. Wyatt joining beta circles, learning Omega perspectives from Elias's gruff seminars. He cooked communal breakfasts, flapjacks stacked high, earning Theo's nod. Even Lena softened, slipping him a rut-dulling tonic. "You're growing on me, Wolf." Climax shattered on a May morning, Myra's waters breaking at dawn, twins crowning amid screams that rent the lodge. The commune rallied, Lena boiling water, Theo timing contractions, Elias on the phone to the midwife in Hamilton. Finn paced the porch, Wyatt's arm steady, until chaos called, "We need hands." They dove in, Wyatt supporting Myra's back, Finn wiping sweat, voices a chorus of encouragement. Hours blurred, blood and miracle, until two boys emerged slick and squalling, tiny fists waving defiance. Mira wept, cradling them, the room electric with new life. In the afterglow, as the midwife packed up, Wyatt pulled Finn aside. "That's us soon. You ready?" Fear flickered, the letters echo, the pill's ghost. "What if I can't?" Wyatt knelt, forehead to belly. "You already are. And I'm right here." The moment broke open Finn's last reserve, tears flowing free. "I love you," he said, the words a vow. Wyatt rose, kissing salt from lips. Forever. Summer bloomed triumphant, the valley alive with harvest. Finn's due date neared, body a vessel of anticipation. Sketches now family portraits. 3 faces, intertwined. Wyatt scouted a plot. 5 acres by the river, cabin foundation poured with commune help. One golden afternoon, as they picnicked under cottonwoods, Finn's water broke. Gentle seep, not flood. "It's time," he breathed, hand in Wyatt's. The birth was riverside, midwife guiding, the commune a circle of witnesses. Labor crested like waves, Finn gripping Wyatt's hand, pushes primal and profound. At sunset, with a cry that split the sky, their son arrived. Elias Kane Harper, dark curls and blue eyes, sent a perfect blend, pine and honey. Wyatt cut the cord, tears streaming, then gathered them both, knot of family unbreakable. "My Omegas," he whispered, wonder infinite. Finn held his son, exhaustion sweet, the bond thrumming complete. Betrayal scars faded to silver, compassion the true mark. For self, for love, for the wild hearts that chose to stay. The first months in Ridge Valley's embrace unfolded like a reel of stolen footage. Blurry edges of joy and jangle, Elias's cries piercing the nights like stars through blackout curtains. Finn navigated the Omega haze, body soft and spent, milk-leaking shirts a badge of the bond he'd claimed. Wyatt was omnipresent. Midnight bottles warmed on the wood stove, dawn walks with the babe strapped to his chest. His alpha bulk a mobile fortress against the world's whir. They settled the river plot that fall, the cabin rising frame by frame, communal hammers echoing Finn's heartbeat. Wyatt led the build, blueprints sketched with Finn's flourish. Wide windows for light, a studio loft for designs, nursery walls papered in murals of valleys and voyages. "Our story," Wyatt said, nailing beams, sweat beading on his brow. "Brick by truth." Finn contributed where he could, painting trim, nursing Elias amid sawdust motes dancing like fireflies. The baby thrived, chubby-cheeked and curious. His Omega sent budding sweet, drawing coos from Myra's twins, now toddling terrors. Theo dubbed them the Valley Wolves. Playdates a whirlwind of blocks and babbles. But harmony hid undercurrents, the past's tide lapping insistent. Seattle called in echoes, freelance clients pressing for return. Wyatt's old shop sold to a chain that stripped its soul. A package arrived one November Eve. Riley again, uninvited, a photo enclosed. Wyatt in his 20s, arm around her, eyes distant. "He'll tire of the novelty. Run while you can." Finn burned it in the fire pit, flames devouring the doubt, but ash lingered in his throat. That night, as Elias fussed, Finn paced the half-built porch, Wyatt finding him under moon-silvered beams. "Talk," the alpha urged, hands on shoulders, thumbs kneading tension. Finn exhaled, the letters poison spilling. She says you're chasing a phase. That I'll wake up beta again. Hating this. Wyatt's face shadowed, pain etching lines. Riley left because I was half a man. Rut blind, suppressing nothing. You woke me, Finn. Made me whole. They made love there, urgent and unknotted, the cabin's skeleton witnessing. Finn atop, riding the alpha's surrender, cries muffled in flannel. Release came cleansing, Wyatt's mark throbbing fresh on Finn's neck. A reaffirmation, not restraint. Winter locked them in, snowdrifts sealing the valley like a vow. Elias cut teeth on elk bones, his first word, day. Pointed at Wyatt, who melted into puddles, alpha ferocity yielding to paternal mush. Finn watched, heart full, sketching triptychs. Father-son silhouettes against hearths, motherless but mightily loved. Commune life wove tighter. Lena apprenticed Finn in herbals, tinctures for colic and calm. Mira traded sculpture sessions, her hands shaping clay while Finn nursed, stories swapping like spices. Elias grew amid it, crawling through gardens, Omega giggles drawing butterflies. Spring thawed secrets, though. Elias fell ill, fever spiking, scent turning acrid. The midwife diagnosed a rut precursor, rare in infants but Omega true. Biology asserting early. Panic gripped Finn, memories of his own suppressed youth flashing. Pills as prison. Wyatt drove through mudslick roads to Missoula's clinic, holding Finn's hand white-knuckled. Doctors confirmed. Manageable with mild suppressants, but the choice loomed. Medicate the boy's nature, or let it bloom free. Back home, debate raged by candlelight, Elias dozing fever-flushed. We can't cage him, Finn said, voice fierce. Like they tried with me. Wyatt nodded, brow furrowed. But the world, it's cruel to Omega's unprotected. Elias rallied by dawn, the crisis passing, but resolve hardened. They vowed nurture over numb, herbs from Lena, education from Theo's tomes. The boy emerged stronger, his first steps toward Finn's open arms, a declaration of unbound spirit. Summer brought expansion. Wyatt's garage opening in Hamilton, custom bikes for locals, Finn consulting designs remotely. Clients trickled from Seattle, impressed by his rustic reinvention. One video call, a producer gushed, "Your style's got that raw edge, perfect for our queer indie flick." Finn beamed, Elias gnawing a teether on his lap. Life's the best muse. But betrayal specter resurfaced in July heat. A letter from Wyatt's aunt. Beta kin, sharp-tongued from the city. Family doesn't approve. Omega pairings? Slippery slope to dependency. Come home alone, boy. Wyatt read it aloud, voice steady, then tore it to confetti, scattering it riverward. They're ghosts. Your blood. The act sealed it, but Finn's insecurities crested that night. Omega doubts whispering failure. He slipped out at midnight, walking the banks, stones skipping his fears. Wyatt found him at the bend, silent companion. I ran once, Finn confessed, voice small. Scared you'd trap me. Wyatt sat close, not touching. I chased. But now, I'd let you go if it freed you. The honesty undid Finn, tears hot on cheeks. He leaned in, lips finding Wyatt's. Deep, devouring, the kiss a recommitment. They tumbled to moss, bodies joining under stars. Not blooming full, the bond's pulse sinking with cricket's chorus. Fall harvested bounty. Commune festival, bonfires and bluegrass, Elias toddling through dances. Wyatt proposed there, ring forged from shop scrap, silver band etched with compass rose. Navigate with me? He asked, on one knee, Elias crowing approval. Finn's yes was a sob, the valley erupting in cheers. Winter's hush brought the second child. A girl, born at solstice under full moon, her cry a melody of pine and promise. Nora Kane Harper, fierce-eyed, completed the circle. Years wove onward, the cabin filled with laughter and lore. Elias sketching like his dad, Nora herbalist in training, the family a tapestry of chosen truths. Finn's art graced galleries, themes of identity unbound. Wyatt's bikes roared trails, symbols of journeys reclaimed. Betrayals faded to footnotes, compassion the ink. For flaws forgiven, freedoms fiercely guarded, identities embraced in the quiet roar of love's true nature. One eve, as snow fell soft, Finn traced Wyatt's mark, children Abed. We made it. Wyatt pulled him near, voice gravel warm. And we'd run it all again. For this. Decades turn in Ridge Valley etched lines of laughter on faces once taut with trial. The cabin's walls bowed with shelves of sketchbooks, jars of dried lavender, tiny boots caked in river mud. Elias, at 10, towered lanky, his Omega curiosity a spark that lit workshops. Dismantling Wyatt's bike engines, quizzing Finn on color theory. His heats mild and met with matter-of-fact herbs from Lena's successor. Nora, 8 and fierce, roamed wilder. Climbing aspens, braiding Nora's curls into crowns, her alpha leanings budding gentle, tempered by Myra's tales of balanced bonds. Finn, 34 now, balanced studio and hearth, his designs a quiet revolution. Children's books of Omega heroes, unbound by betas or alphas, published under imprints that celebrated the unseen. Wyatt's garage thrived, a hub for Valley youth, teens learning welds and wheels, sense mingled without stigma. The commune evolved too, borders blurring. Select alphas welcomed, vetted through circles of trust, the air richer for it. Yet echoes persisted, subtle as autumn fog. Elias's first real heat hit at 12. A storm that confined him to the loft, fevered and feral. Finn sat vigil, chamomile steaming, while Wyatt paced the porch, alpha instincts howling to soothe. Can't knot his pain away, Wyatt growled, fists clenched. Finn joined him, hand slipping into calloused palm. We teach him strength, like you taught me. The boy emerged wiser, journaling fevers into poetry, his bond with a beta classmate from Hamilton. A quiet girl named Sage, blossoming tentative, supported not suppressed. Nora's ruts came softer, her protectiveness channeling into advocacy. School petitions for scent-neutral policies, her speeches echoing Finn's old Seattle fears. Conflict crested unbidden, a Montana winter's bite carrying old winds. Riley resurfaced, not letter but in flesh. Pulling into the garage one sleet-slick afternoon, heels unsuited to gravel, eyes sharp as the aunt's disapproval. Wyatt Kane, she drawled, beta polish cracking at edges. Heard you're playing house. Wyatt wiped grease from hands, stance wide. Riley, what brings you? Curiosity. And a job offer, Seattle firms expanding. Need a lead mechanic. For old times. The words landed barbed, aimed at Finn, who arrived mid-conversation, Elias in tow from school drop-off. Riley's gaze raked him. Omega settled, children in orbit. Still chasing fantasies? Finn's blood chilled, but voice held steady. Building realities. You should try it. She laughed, brittle. He's alpha, honey. Needs the city's pulse. You'll drag him down. Elias stiffened, small hand in Finn's. Wyatt stepped forward, voice thunder low. I'm where I belong. Doors that way. Riley left in a spray of slush, but venom lingered. That night, dinner soured, Elias probing. She your ex, Dad? Nora's eyes wide, absorbing the fracture. Wyatt gathered them post-bedtime, fire low. Past's a shadow, doesn't dim our light. Finn nodded, but sleep evaded, doubts coiling like smoke. Morning brought counsel. Commune elders, Lena's ghost in herbal wisdom. Test or trap? Elias mused, now teen-sharp. Neither, Finn decided. Our story. Wyatt countered the lure quietly, declining the offer via terse email, then channeling energy into a valley project. A community center? Bikes for kids, sense welcomed. Finn designed the logo, a compass entwined with rivers, freedom's flow. Spring's thaw mirrored mending, but climax brewed in summer's heat. A regional fair in Missoula, where Elias entered his poetry, Nora her advocacy booth. The family arrived sun-dazed, stalls humming with crafts and calls. Amid the whirl, Riley reappeared, booth neighbor, consultant schmoozing donors. She cornered Finn by the Ferris wheel, Elias and Nora off at rides. He'll resent you. The kids, the isolation. Alphas need conquest. Finn met her eyes, Omega steel forged in flight. He chose us. Daily. Riley sneered. Choice? Or pity? The barb struck deep, old wounds reopening. The pills, the run, the fear of being burdened. Finn walked away, heart hammering, finding Wyatt at the bike demo, demonstrating gears to wide-eyed kids. Can we talk? Finn pulled him aside, voice tight. Alone. By the riverbank. Words tumbled. Riley's taunts, the gnaw of inadequacy. What if she's right? You gave up Seattle for this? Wyatt cupped his face, thumbs fierce. Gave up nothing. Gained everything. He knelt, as at proposal, but now with children's laughter echoing. You're my conquest, Finn. Every dawn. Tears fell, Finn's hands framing Wyatt's jaw. Prove it. Wyatt did there, in the willow's shade, urgent and unknotted, bodies reaffirming amid fairground din. The bond thrummed, alive, alphas and omegas be damned. Just them, raw and real. Riley vanished after, her shadow dispersed like fair dust. Elias won blue for his verse, roots run deeper than ruts. Nora's booth drawing crowds, signatures on petitions. Fall deepened roots. Center groundbreaking, Finn's book launch. A reading where Elias voiced a chapter, voice cracking proud. Wyatt watched, eyes misted, hand on Finn's knee. Winter's peace held. Holidays a hearth glow of pies and presents. Nora gifted herbal sachets, Elias a bike chain sculpture. Family forged in metal and memory. Years layered gentle. Elias off to college, Omega unbound, majoring in environmental lit. Nora apprenticing under Mira, sculpting bonds in bronze. The cabin echoed emptier, but fuller. Grandkids promised, visits from Seattle friends who'd once whispered doubts. One anniversary eve, snow soft outside, Finn and Wyatt danced slow in the kitchen. Elias's old tunes on the radio. Ran once, Finn murmured, cheek to chest. Wyatt spun him gentle, chased forever. The message lingered in every line they'd drawn. Compassion for the hidden selves, freedom in fierce choices. Identity a river, wild, winding, home.